The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. We're excited you're joining us for day one of our Cloud Summit series focused on the latest insights and tools in cloud technology. I'd like to welcome to you our third and final webinar for today, the PowerSuite, how to use new tools to gain key insights from customer data and empower your sales team. Just a couple of housekeeping items we'd like to mention before we begin the presentation. All attendees are in listen-only mode. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please submit them through the GoToWebinar question box. We'll be collecting questions to answer as a follow-up to this session. I'd like to introduce today's speakers. Philip Guglielmi is our Senior Enterprise Architect for BI and Analytics, and Brett Pitstick is our Office 365 Solutions Architect. So Philip and Brett, I believe we're ready to transition over to you.
Awesome, thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. Welcome one and all to the Cloud Summit. This is session number 3, the PowerSuite, how to use new tools to gain key insights from customer data and empower your sales team. We live in a very pivotal time where data is disrupting the execution of strategic business and operational decisions, redefining the way business visions and outcomes are identified and executed. Now, I can tell by all of you coming to this webinar that you guys have a growth mindset. You guys are, or you know that you need to be flexible to meet the demands of this changing landscape, changing almost every day, every week. And you're here because of the ever-present need to adopt innovation and change. Brett and I are here to help, as thought leaders, lead you in that direction, to help craft solutions that get you to your next. The company that adopts change makes modifications from being a spreadsheet company to being a data-driven company, and adapts to the marketplace, will for certain get the competitive advantage. And again, Brett and I are here to increase the chances of being successful at the adoption of these new technologies. So what are we going to talk about today? Today is about the Microsoft PowerSuite and how these tools represent a seminal moment in the technology lifecycle of Microsoft. Because for the first time, these new technologies are empowering business users, not just IT people, but business users, to explore their data. They now have enormous analytical capabilities that are freed from the rigors of IT department. This data culture is literally for everyone. It goes from the business user to the developer to the power user. So today, we'll give you a few examples of what you can do, but keep in mind that we would love to have you come up to us and talk to us afterwards about other solutions that can fit your needs. So just a quick housekeeping. Obviously, Brett and I, are the third of today's sessions. And tomorrow, day 2, there are 3 more sessions. Latest cloud ERPs, how they compare with Hirsch, Patel. Definitely recommend going to all of these tomorrow. They'll all definitely help you towards the path of being innovative and growing in this market. If you cannot make it, please, still sign up, because you will get recordings of the presentations afterwards. So even if you're not going to be there, you'll be able to take the recordings and share them out with people in your organization or use them for yourself. And I am a developer. I'm more of an engineer than I am a salesperson. So I'm going to do my best to execute on this slide and the next 2 slides. But and I'm also a recovering CPA. Knowing the landscape, I migrated over to Velocio, and the business platform, the portfolio of services that we offer is extensive. Coming from experience, we work everything from Dynamics to any kind of, really any ERP system. I had the fortune of working, on cloud-based systems in Azure, as well as, small on-premise GP databases. So we have a wide breadth of services that we all, well, at least I and many of my coworkers, including Brett, have experience with. Clients can leverage this across all the platforms. So we'd love to talk to you about other solutions that can help you get to your next. Just by the numbers. So we have 96.1% client satisfaction. Again, as an accountant, I think these are reasonable numbers. And as a data analyst, I also think they're reasonable. I mean, they're not over 100%, so that's we're going well there. There is one thing that we are always kind of known for, and we're always recognized as an industry leader because of our large client base within Microsoft. We're the only Microsoft partner to be included 22 times in Microsoft's Inner Circle Club. No other partner has ever done that. Over the past 30 years, we've worked with over 8,500 engagements that have resulted in 50+ industry awards, some based on our consulting prowess and some on the industry solutions and our growth. We are the only Microsoft partner in the world that has been entrusted to operate a robust partner ecosystem with more than 150 affiliates. And we have helped develop IP for marketing and do a whole bunch of other solutions within the ERP and business intelligence space. So that being said, I'll go ahead and get to the agenda. Brett and I are here to give you a little bit of a brief introduction on us, and then I will talk about our modern collaboration. I'll try to go through these slides as quickly as possible because I'm more of a demo person, and I want you guys to see some of these new technologies and experience it for yourself and know that it can be applied to almost any problem that you see inside of your company. We'll discuss some of the new digital workspace and its implications for us. I'll also lead you through a quick tour of Office 365 and the PowerSuite and how these together can optimize, and not only that, but it can create efficiencies within your organization to help facilitate that data culture. Finally, Brett will talk a little bit about Velocio and how we position ourselves as the industry leader. So, brief introduction after that great speech. My name is Philip Quigley. I'm a Senior Enterprise Architect, and with me I have Brett Pitstick, Office 365 Solutions Architect. I think that completely understates how knowledgeable he is. So we need to get a better slide for him, but he's the good-looking one, by the way. All right, so we are here today to talk about actionable business intelligence and analytics in your space. This is just a quick overview of how these services come together to really build that holistic view of your enterprise. At the top, you'll see Dynamics 365, Office 365, Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow. And Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow help bring all your data together. So they are how you create actionable insights out of your data. Below those are the storage containers that are now, driving some of these, the data-driven culture, if you will. So really quickly, I'm going to go over some of the questions that when we go into a client, we talk to them about, we sit down, we do very thorough documentation of the requirements. We talk to them about what needs they have and how we can execute, across all departments, all functional areas to help drive again, data-driven culture and get you guys to your next. So what does the user profile in your company look like? And these are just questions to go back to your, when you guys are thinking about your strategy within your company, things to think about. A lot of people are working remote these days. So, do you guys have people that are remote? Do you guys have advances in new systems? And how are they communicating? Are they depending solely on emails? Are they tech savvy? Can they remote into desktops, or do we have to provide, documents to them? And this will get into the digital landscape and how it's changing. What interactions need to be addressed? So a better data interaction. As you guys know, data is everywhere now. I think by 2020, they say there's going to be about 200 petabytes of data just kind of out there, and about 1% of it is actually going to be usable. So, how are we going to get you guys to, or help you guys understand the importance of data? Mobile's everywhere. With Power BI, Power Apps, Flow, as well as Office 365, it provides a very user-friendly interface when going to mobile. So that's another plus to the PowerSuite. And because it's, we have to interact with data in a real time, it becomes even more important to have these kind of solutions that are accessible and manageable to the normal business user. I kind of want to repeat that because the PowerSuite helps normal business users execute, gain insight into their data, and react and proactively manage their business. And normal business users can do it. Ease of use. All of these different kind of tools are, getting easier and easier to use. Definitely putting me out of my job. I once thought a CPA was enough, but now it's like, every day I have to learn something new. So, so just trust me to learn it, and then, when you guys want, bring me and Brett and our team in. We can help you understand how to make quicker decisions. And of course, aging technology. A lot of people are on premise. They might have a mix of hybrid cloud. So we help migrate people to Azure, and we also help create those hybrid landscapes where you're working. Some of your data is on premise and some is in the cloud. I also want to express or impart to you guys that the Power Platform can work with on-premise data and cloud data. So all of these are accessible for us. Really quickly, just to give you kind of a brief overview of today's landscape. So we were talking about these the other day in our consulting meeting, but talent attraction and retention. Winning our talent war means, you have to have better technology. You have to have access to better technology. Mobile, as I said before, is always a must. And business teams are often located in different places. So being able to schedule, being able to interact again in real time to understand people's problems, or just answer people's questions, it becomes very important. The generation gap. We are definitely in a workplace that's changing. You have to be able to adapt to that changing. So for the first time, 4 generations are working alongside each other, which is dictating how the data is consumed, how device information is being passed. Some want to communicate via email. Some want to communicate via video and phone. Brett has helped architect several solutions within just SharePoint, around how do you secure external users from getting to the data, and these are not easy things to do if you're just starting. But some of these technologies that we'll introduce today will help you get to that point, and hopefully we can help you get there. So this is just to give you a little visual of the team across the organization. So you have teams working with other teams, that's a given. But how are you going to manage that? And again, it gets back to the digital landscape is changing. The PowerSuite helps you do things much faster. With Flow, I'll show you how to set one up. I mean, it takes a few minutes, and you can set one up, and it can automate your whether it's a document storage process or whether it's just sending out emails or surveys, things that usually take a lot of people. And again, as a CPA, the CFO used to come up to me and say, hey, can you put a board report together? And that used to take me hours. Now it takes minutes with some of these tools. It wouldn't be complete without collaboration, and this is the biggest thing that Microsoft is pushing. I will start off my demo after my awful diatribe that hopefully I haven't lost anyone yet. So you guys are still with me out there, but collaboration, and we're going to get into that here in a minute about how important collaboration is in the Microsoft vision. And these tools, again, the PowerSuite, as well as Office 365, D365, Dynamics 365, helps you really get in touch with your business and create that transformation that you need. As Satya says, transforming the way we do business, they do business, to be successful in the increasingly digital business ecosystem. So modern applications. Promise the last 3 slides and then you're done with me, at least for the slides. So building apps. With Power Apps, it helps everyone in the business collaborate. It helps professional developers work more efficiently together. You can solve, business problems with very intuitive visual tools. The code, or the formula, I should say, is much like Excel. So I'll show you, a brief overview of Power Apps and how I can basically, within my Power BI, I can execute on on insights that I gain from my dashboard. So with Power Apps, I've gone ahead and I've embedded it into my Power BI. But these, I want everyone to know that these are very mutually exclusive applications. Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow can all work, separately. So I could have a Power App that has nothing to do with my Power BI, or it could have everything to do. So they're mutually exclusive, but collectively they're exhaustive. So they can completely, reinvent the way you're doing your business, or you're just performing normal everyday things. We have one internally that we use for PTO, just to give you an example. Power BI, as everyone knows, is a dashboarding. It's a visualization. It gets your data from hundreds of different sources, and if you can't find your source inside of there, we'll help you create a custom connector that can get that. We're working on one right now for NetSuite that we'll be able to use. So, so Power BI is it's going to be around a $700 million venture this year, or profit maker for revenue generator, excuse me, for Microsoft. So I promise you that it will be around for a long time, and it will be heavily invested in. The last is Flow. So Flow helps, these services, all of these cloud services that are in the cloud, talk to one another. And so really the last 3 slides are just to give you an overview of how they can be mutually exclusive. So an application, Power App is an app. Power BI is a visualization tool, and Flow helps you move data from one place to another, or it can help you, it can help you really automate time-consuming business tasks across your organization. Again, I was just mentioning that we have one internally that we use for PTO, and actually Brett developed it, and it helps, our project managers and our department heads keep track of who's going on PTO, when they're going on PTO, and not only when it is approved does the person get an email, like you'll see with MyFlow, but it also on their calendar, again, no one touching anything, puts that into their calendar so that time is marked off and they know that. So you can use it to manage your resources as well. And it's, it's for non-developers. It's working smarter, automating across workflows and across apps. It's just easier. And I can't say that enough. So enough with the slides, and I'm going to go ahead and hop into my demo. And before I do, as I actually get this started up, Brett, was there anything you wanted to add to that way too long of a speech?
No,
My diatribe.
Yeah, you covered pretty much all the things that would be good to cover. So
Awesome. And Brett, can you just give me a confirmation? Can you see my screen now?
I can, yeah.
My Power BI. Great. So as I mentioned, today is about disrupting technology and the growth mindset. you guys again have the growth mindset, and I'm going to show you how the collaboration comes into Power BI. Right now I'm in my Power BI service, as you can see, and I'll go ahead and click on my dashboard. Now I want to show off one feature that actually they just came out with, which I'm very excited about. You guys have all probably seen dashboards, so I'm not gonna try to pretend that you haven't and show you a bunch of not so cool stuff. But one cool thing that I don't know if you guys have seen, but we now have conversations. So I can add conversations and comments to my dashboard. So over here, I've gone ahead and I've added, hey, can IT look into Adam's request, as it looks like it's been outstanding for 33 days. I can also click on the comments up here and I can see, keep up the great work on these projects. These variances look good, let's keep up the good work. So obviously I'm commenting on my own, but if you had team in here, this is a great space to do collaboration. I'll come back to natural language, even though natural language is also a big one in here. I want to point out a few things before I do hop out of the dashboard. This is a project dashboard that I created for you guys today. I'll show you just a few things. One, subscriptions. So you can now subscribe to getting this dashboard on a daily, hourly basis, and I can add people to it. So I want to show that off. And then I can also create alerts. So this presentation is not going to lend itself to how much you can do with this tool, but I promise you that you will not be disappointed with the tool. But let's go ahead and let's drill down into that. So I want to see now what's going on with those different projects. So when I click on let's see if I can. Let's see. When I click on the report, if I can get that away, there we go. I'll go ahead and get to the overview. And the overview provides me just an overview of my projects. So I can quickly see what are my variances by the project. And you can add any type of parameter up at the top that you want. Right now I just have status. So if I wanted to see how my completed projects did, I'll click on my completed projects. And I can see that people are not doing too well over here. I have a lot of variances, except for up here I can see Cameron, who we'll come back to in a little bit when we assign projects, and Chris are doing pretty well, as well as Alicia. These projects are completed and they're doing pretty well on their actual to projected days. The next one I'm going to get into are my requests. So I want to see my project request. As we saw on that dashboard, one of the gentleman's name, or one of the person that had a request that had been outstanding for 33 days. I'm pointing to it over here. I can also make that bigger if I wanted to see the full screen. So I can see right here that it's been outstanding for 33 days. Go back to the report. I can use the other visuals to drill down on that. So if I want to just see what the new software requests are, I can click on the new software request. And that drills down on all the other visuals. If I need to see the data behind something, I can also click here, say show data, and get the data behind those projects. So now I have the data behind those projects down here. I can also export it to Excel. Or if you would like to, you can also, the last thing you can do is you can also export it to a PDF. Oh, sorry, PDF. So there's a lot you can do from here. Now, one thing I want to point out right away, though, is I want to act on this Adam not having his request fulfilled. So I will go ahead and act on that data. So from within here, get rid of that. I will go ahead and launch my application. We are now getting out of the Power BI realm into the Power Apps realm. And as that spins up, when my application loads up, you'll see that it'll load the local user. So it went ahead and welcomed me in, and it allows me to make different requests. So typically when Brett and I go into a client, we talk about, okay, what security, what are your requirements, et cetera, kind of the thought process I went through earlier. I just kind of breezed through it, but there's a lot that goes into our discovery process. So we would talk about, okay, how do you want to access this screen? For right now, I'm going to log in as an employee. And I see that just behind here, it looks like a device management that needs to be, I'm going to put it to an approval. Over here, I can see what's open, what's pending, and what's already been approved. So I'll go to the open. And again, this is an application within my Power BI that I'm using to act on my data. So I'm going to look up device management. Yep, there it is. And it's still open, just like I saw here. I'm going to go ahead and mark that as approved. So if I click here, I can go and I can view that device management. I can change the days, etc. But what I want to hear is I'm going to click on the pencil, which obviously is the edit button. I'm going to change that to approved. I'll go ahead and mark that approved. And go back. So that is now marked approved. So just in that, couple seconds, I've actually saved back to the database. You can do this with any database. So this application can access everything from Azure to SharePoint to you name it, SAP. So it's any on-premise or cloud-based database. But within those few seconds, I went ahead and I approved that. Now, when I go back to Power BI, it's not going to refresh automatically. So while we're in it, I'll go ahead and come down to my data set and I'll refresh it while we're in here. And we'll see that pop up here in a second. Now, the next tab I have on here are my active projects. So as I get into the active projects, I left this screen up. So as I get into the active projects, this becomes really important. You saw that we have 4 unassigned projects down here at the bottom. So what Power BI can also do, and these applications, so I'm taking, what traditionally we would have taken maybe 5 or 6 different, 5 or 6 different applications and or 2 or 3 people, and I've put them into one. So here I have my unassigned. And if I click on the unassigned, it'll go ahead and filter my calendar over here. So up at the top, I see I have my project's timeline and scheduler. I have the completed, in progress, and not started. I see the ones that are unassigned, obviously, have not been started. Now I want to see who's available that can take that on. Not only do I want to see who's available, but I also want to see who has the least amount of variance, historically, as a trend in their projects. So I want to observe, okay, so great, I know that these are unassigned, but now let me get the data insight that will provide me who I should assign this to and who can get it done in a reasonable way or in a reasonable timeline. So down here at the bottom, I know that Alicia, by looking over here, that she has a great variance that shows me that she gets her she gets her projects done on time. So does Brett. But as I scroll down, I see Alicia. I see that most of her. So I'll go ahead and just filter down for Alicia and the unassigned manager. If it lets me. Either I'm too fast. There we go. So I'll filter down for those two. There we go. And I see that, she's pretty busy over that time. She is overlapping with probably, 2 or 3 projects. So I really don't want to assign her. So I'll go ahead and clear that. But actually, just from looking at the data, right away I can see that Chris Ashton has availability. He's already completed his project, and he completed it 1 day ahead of schedule. I can tell that by just clicking on him. And it should highlight. So now what do I do? In a normal business situation, I would have to go out to, again, the ERP system or whatever it may be, CRM. Again, this hooks into CRM. So any kind of like that, any system like that, I'd have to assign it. It'd probably go through a process. From right within here, however, I can just go ahead and launch the application and assign it. I know that, Chris has availability and that he can take this one on. So this time I'll log in as a manager because I'm assigning managers to a certain project. So I'll assign a manager. And so let's see which one of these I want to assign. Let's do the Power BI software. So Power BI software is requested by Brett, 25 days to complete it. So let's go ahead and let's add a manager to that. And I'm going to assign Chris. And I click OK. So he has now been assigned. The data will refresh. I will refresh the data set, and we'll go back and see that here in a second. The next thing I want to do is I want to add one for Cloud Summit software. I'm actually going to put it in for Cloud Summit Internet Upgrade because this report is taking a little bit longer than needed. So I'll put 12 days on there. The request data have defaulted to today. I'm going to make the requester is going to be Alicia. Typically, in a typical situation, we lock this down so that only the people with permissions could do it. Project type, we'll do probably a hardware upgrade, and we're going to go to open. Go ahead and click that. So now I've submitted a request. I've also assigned managers to the projects themselves. That one will now be in pending. I'll go home, and I'll go ahead and hop out of my application. So that's all done within Power BI. I've now taken analytics. I've put it into, the ability to manage processes. Now, what happened to that request? I'll go ahead and go up to the my mailbox, and refresh it. And let's say I'm a project manager, a CEO, CFO on the beach. I'm giving PTO, or I'm assigning a project, or I'm approving a project. You get an email. With that email, without entering into an ERP system, without getting into a database, I can approve or disapprove and send the person requesting, who in this case was Alicia, an email. So Alicia is requesting a new project. Title is Cloud Summit, Internet Upgrade, estimated days 12. This is for a hardware update, and it was requested this day. I think I will go ahead and approve that. We need that internet upgrade. And Alicia will get an email. In this case, I just sent it to myself, but I will walk you through the flow very quickly because I am running a little bit low on time. Alicia, your request has been approved. Great. That will be added to my Power BI. Now, I've shown you a little bit of flow because I think it's important for you to understand how easy these are to make. So if I want to make a flow, let's say you're wondering, okay, Philip, this is all great. You know, how do I do this myself? It's actually pretty simple. So I will go ahead and show you the one that I'd have done for the advanced approval. So I'll click onto my approval, and right now I'm in flow. So I've gone from Power BI to flow, and I'll say edit flow. So that's what triggered when I hit the Power application that submitted it. It said when an item is created, and it took from the list project request. So it took from my project request, again, drop downs, very easy, very simple. And I'll show you how to quickly, if I have a couple seconds. So that's my list name and start approval. You can have anyone or everyone. Anyone is like, if one person approves it, then it's done. Everyone means everyone has to approve it. And it can be dynamic. So this approval needed by, which you saw in the email, which shows up right here. So it's dynamic, approval needed by, and then gives you the details. There is a condition that if it is approved, it will send an email, it will update an item, and it will move it to the project details. So very simple, straightforward. I promise you, and there's templates out there if you just want to try. If you're a beginner, do templates. If not, you know, go ahead and do your own. And if you want this for a business process, definitely, you know, come to me or Brett, and we can help you. We can help you work on that. This is, I will just show you really quickly. This is from a SharePoint list, but again, I want to tell you that it's agnostic, so you can hit any database, any data source. And I just want to show you really quick. You have these buttons at the top of your SharePoint site that will assist you in doing it. I don't want to be impolite. I want to be respectful of Brett because he is going to take over after me. And but I did want to point out that, you know, inside of SharePoint, you can just go ahead and configure a flow or create one from here. Definitely really useful tool to know. And with that, I will go ahead and pass it off to Brett, who is going to wrap it up and you know, be the solution architect on our ending.
All right.
And get your next.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. So the next question is, where do we start with you? A lot of times companies come to us and they ask us the question, I really don't know about these technologies. Can you explain them to me? Can you help me out? Or they're somewhere, you know, they've kind of done some research, they've played around with the tool, or they've got advanced needs, right? So we're here in any of those stages. We can help you crawl, we can help you walk, and we can help you run. So it just depends on what you need from us. We're looking to understand what your business is, how you're doing it, how your users work, and not just saying, okay, here's the project. Okay, we can meet those needs. Here's the requirements. Yeah, we can give you a deliverable, and boom, we're done. We're looking for a holistic understanding of your organization. All right, next slide. So how do we do that? The process would be that we would understand what you're looking for from a kickoff perspective. We'll get you there. We'll start it off. We'll figure out what the assessment is as far as the needs are concerned. We'll give you a deliverable so everybody has an understanding of what the requirement is, what the deliverables are, how it's going to happen, who's going to be doing the work, what are we going to be doing it, those types of things. And oftentimes, we might not do the entire thing. We might give you a proof of concept. So there may be a need for 50% of the work to be done so that everybody makes sure that that is exactly what's needed and it can meet your requirements. It's an application, or it's a flow, or it's a Power BI dashboard that really meets the needs. Sometimes we don't take it all the way to the end. Sometimes we'll do just a beginning part of it so that everybody understands and can sign off on it. So next slide. So how do we do that? By enabling solutions for your business. We can work with you from strategy all the way over to the business analytics and everything in between, whether it's helping you with hosting needs, such as infrastructure, or getting you to the cloud and Azure, Office 365, Dynamics, whatever it may be. We can offer that to you and help you through that project. So next slide. So what's your next? That's the question that we want to ask you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Phil or I, and we're happy to answer those for you.
Thanks, Philip. Thanks, Brett. So this concludes our webinar. We'll be sending a follow-up email with the presenter's contact information for any questions. Thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you tomorrow for our 3 remaining sessions.